Here we are, folks. What's going on? Another day, another opportunity. Hope you're doing well. It's the Crypto Wonder right back at you with another one. It's not DJ Khaled. Anyway, so a lot going on, right? As usual, there's always something going on in crypto. But of course, you come here to hear about my auditory rendition of whatever. But you know I like talking about Hex, pulsechain, and pulsex, so let's get it, man. Hex, pulsechain, and pulsex, right? No expectations of pulsechain and pulsex, of course. No expectations. Alphabet boys and girls, stay far away from me, because all I do is give nothing but no type of financial advice. So there you have it, all right? There you have it. The T-share game is crazy. The whole yield every day, 00 UTC, is crazy. Okay? We have that rocking and rolling. Unfortunately, it's on Ethereum 2.0. Ethereum is trash. I don't care what people say. That's just how I feel. Ever since it merged, it just became too costly. And you still have to wait years for whatever. We've been waiting years until 2.0 came out, and it's just been lackluster. Who cares? If you've been staking your ETH, you got a chance to take it out recently, good for you, bravo. But it's too expensive. End of story. That's all I have to say about that. No, that's not all I have to say about that. But you're not here for that. You're not here to listen to me defecate on ETH, because Hex lives over there. So I'll give ETH a little leeway, because it's the first blockchain that introduced smart contracts to the world. And there's no other chains that's even competing with Ethereum. Barely trying, but they're not doing it. Who's the closest contender? Who? Binance? Yeah. What about the other EVM chains? Who cares? Who cares? Nobody. Right. That's why we're not expecting pulsechain to copy the entire network state of Ethereum. The entire state. Not like proof of work and Ethereum Fair. Because those chains forked since ETH2 merged, ETH 2.0 merged, but they did not copy the entire network state of Ethereum. Those things were just rushed out. Ethereum Fair will have you believe, and I heard that it took them years to prepare, maybe 4 years to prepare. Okay, but you guys didn't copy the entire network state. But guess what? Hex lives over on those two chains too. So that's yield on top of yield on top of yield. Even though those two chains, we got to see what they produce in the future. We have to see what they produce in the future, because what I like about those chains are the cheap fees. I like how they work, their proof of work. They're basically Ethereum proof of work, but the transactions are so much more affordable, so much cheaper. And it's like a glorified, well, it's not even a test net because they're main nets. So there's some value there. Do your research. You know, you take your chances on doing whatever you want to do, because the decision is yours, right? So technically, there's three chains right now. You know, that's why I've always said, and I will continue to say, like the community is fortunate, very, very fortunate, because who knows what a year is gonna look like, 2 years gonna look like with those other two chains, right? So it is what it is. Some people look at it as free money because everybody got copies. If you had Hex and you had your Hex, mining or whatever, you got your Hedron, you got your Icosa, you got those copies over on those other two chains too. So wonderful situation in that sense. And those things are free, and they move decent. They move fast. There's very low liquidity, very, low volume, all of that stuff. But we also know the best time to have acquired Bitcoin when there was absolutely no liquidity. That's what Richard Hart is taught. That's what he said. So it is what it is. Take it for what it's worth. But I gotta tell you, right, with this, the whole thing, I noticed that Bitcoin, for example, right, the first crypto, right, at its low, Bitcoin came out, when it came out, it was worth it was worth zero out the gate. Like, but October 5th, 2009, the price of Bitcoin, according to the research, was 0.00076, give or take. 3 zeros and a 7. Okay? Bitcoin touched 68, 69K at the fall of 2021, right? So what, 13 years, whatever amount of years, 12 years at that time. A lot of times we hear 6 million X, 6 million, 6.9 million X. The thing from that price to 69K, from 3 zeros and a 7, 6 as 69K, that's 90 million X. People, forget about 6.697 million X. That's 90 million X. There is absolutely nothing, no investment, no type of mineral, no type of gold, silver, real estate, oil, commodities, grain, seeds, cowrie shells that amassed 90 million X in less than 15 years. Richard Hart says Bitcoin, not Bitcoin Hex, but Hex is supposed to be, it used to be called Bitcoin Hex from what I've learned. Hex is supposed to perform better than Bitcoin. You thought 10,000X was something. It still has room to climb. I'm not going to say it's going to be a million X from now, but I'm talking about from the low. It already reached 10,000X. So it has a whole lot of room to climb. And it reached that at 55 cents. Look at the price of Bitcoin today. Yeah, it's not 69K like it was. It's hovering, 27, maybe 20, I don't know. 20s, more than 25K. It's crazy. It's almost like astounding. It's to the point where you can't even believe how high these things can go. And with respect to Hex, look, the mechanics are what they are. They work the way they work. Do your research. Plenty of information out there. I'm just here to talk. I don't give graphs. I don't give charts. I just talk. Shout out to all the folks out there in the community that want to educate the masses. But 90 million X is what Bitcoin did. That's crazy. Crazy. The sacrifice period for pulsechain and pulsex, basically the numbers were 0.0001. That was the rate. That's cheaper than what Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin in, October 5th, 2009. We see what Ethereum did in 6 years, 14,000X, give or take. Even better yet, the T-share rate in 600 plus days, 620 something days, went 15,000X. The T-share rate, the thing that keeps going up and doesn't come down. And here we are. Like, this is all sort of like par for the course, in a sense where, as long as you maintain and you hold on to what you have and understand what you have and know what you have, there's no reason why you can't see success in the future unless you get rid of it before its time. A lot of people, I remember in the beginning of the Hex, in the heyday, the beginning, people were making jokes, including me. There was a famous clip, 42 million Hex, 42 million. That's like 16 ETH, 16 Ethereum. That was back in 2019, late 2019, January 2020, in that period. 42 million Hex now is a grip. Okay? It's a lot of money. But people didn't see the value, those who, and I'm not judging them, because it's hard to hold on to something when you see multiples of multiples of multiples. It's almost like you gotta just do whatever you decide to do. For example, like mine your coins and just walk away and come back sometime later in the future. Because when you see those multiples increase in front of you, if you're not strong, you're going to trick yourself out of your opportunity, because you don't know if that's ever going to come back. This is when your mind starts playing tricks on you. Shout out to the ghetto boys. When your mind starts playing tricks on you, when you're seeing 10x, even something small like 10x, it's a big thing for people. You don't find 10x easily in stocks, mutual funds, bonds. You don't find that simple, that quick, that easy. And then if you do, you selling right away. But that's not the same thing for crypto. Not if you want to amass multitudes of multitudes of multitudes of multiples and gains. You understand? Like, seriously, real talk, folks. Real talk. Multiply any number times 10, times 20, times 50, times 100, times 200, and up and up and up, which is what these things are being created when we have no expectations, to perform better than their counterparts. Pulse chain is supposed to be a better Ethereum, right? Hex is supposed to be a better Bitcoin, right? These things, and Pulse X, oh my goodness. Like, and we're just endowed with greatness. And don't get me started with Hedron and Icosa. Folks. There's so much going on right now to keep you busy, keep you, sort of like well positioned in what's going on. And of course, there's other things too. I just don't really like talking about other stuff. Not because I don't really want to. It's because I'm focused on what's going on right here, right now. That's me. Other people got other communities, got other things going on. Shout out to them. But I'm just focusing on what's happening here. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on the power of these coins and what they're bringing to the world right now, and how people are benefiting from the yield, the constant, consistent yield. We're talking about something that the banks don't even understand. Okay, you have entities that want to regulate the space. And why? Because they want to take control. They want to take control away from the people, because they're afraid of losing their control. They're afraid of losing their power, because they understand what's going on here. They can't get rid of. They can't stop it. They can, inject a bunch of fear mongering and messages and make people, become too scared to even deal with crypto. But then that's when you lose. And that's when they win again and again and again. They've been winning for generations. They, meaning the opposing, the central banks, all these characters. We didn't learn this in school. We didn't learn about money in school. We didn't learn about how money works, how to invest, how to create a business, how to market, how to create revenue, right? How to become self-sufficient in that sense. We didn't learn that. We were trained to work. That's all. We were trained to be worker bees, to enrich owners. We weren't taught to be owners. We weren't taught to have control. We weren't taught to make decisions and be independent from the central entities that run the world. You know, you're looking at things now, and it's like, even here in the U.S., all the laws that they're trying to enact laws and create policy, etc., but they have the hardest time trying to introduce real regulations. Right? We know that maybe some regulation is needed because there was a whole slew of problems that occurred last year alone. FTX was the last of last year that just put a fecal stain on crypto. 3 Arrows Capital, Voyager, Celsius, BlockFi, you name it, Luna, you name it. How many of people in the community was shilling those projects, and hurt the people? So yeah, maybe some regulation is needed, but they can't just like think that they're gonna just eradicate it or ban crypto altogether, because that's what it's looking like they're trying to introduce into the US, where they're trying to make it just I don't know about unlawful, but they're trying to ban crypto in the United States. They're trying their hardest to do it. Good luck. That's all I can say. Good luck. They have a hard time doing that. How do you control decentralization, in a sense, when you have people who are running their own nodes, validators, right? All over the place. How do you control that? It's either I'm not going to even tell them what they have to do, because I'm not on team cabal or team central bank, Federal Reserve, and these government entities that want to keep people impoverished, destitute, poor in mind, body, and spirit. I'm not giving them the secret sauce on what to do to regain control. No. I'm looking at what's going on in these communities right here. I'm looking at what's going on in crypto. I'm looking at what's going on in Hex, pulsechain, pulsex, Hedron, Icosa. I'm looking at what's going on, because this is the way out. What's the alternative? Savings account, banking interest, paltry interest that you get every year, 0.01%. What? You're gonna do some research and look at the highest CD rate somewhere in this country? What, 4% CD? That's what we're dealing with? When we see 4% regular over here, we're spoiled. We see 4% any day. Like, 4% is nothing. We laugh at that. 8% in the stock market world is a win. 8% a year is a win. Imagine us, 800%, like it's nothing. 8x nothing. We see 8x, 10x at movements and activities in a day. In a day, a month, a week. The fastest appreciating asset class. But you got to be smart, and you got to also know corruption is a thing, right? You have to know that. Just know that it's not all peaches and cream over here, and I've said that too before. I'm not going to introduce doom and gloom. I'm just introducing the truth. There's corruption here. Clearly there's corruption. And you have folks like last year, these companies that try to lobby and win the favors of pseudo politicians because they line their pockets up, trying to say, oh yeah, you know, we want regulation, and then it goes bust in their face. FTX goes bust, and then what? Oh, let's just ban it all together. Just ban it. No, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Good luck. There's a thing called resilience, and people always try to overcome through any type of hardship, and that's what's going on right now, because many people are going through it. I've said this before too. The whole thing of and concept of dollar cost averaging. You know, a lot of people don't have it like that to even dollar cost average, because that's how crazy the financial world and economy has become. But we have this here to keep us sort of like more than hopeful, just to kind of like equalize the odds, give us a chance to fight against and always move ahead of inflation, ahead of these a whole slew of invisible taxes that we're forced to pay, even though we don't have to, but we're forced to. Well, that's a conversation for another day. But we're forced to pay fees left and right in our daily lives. Crypto's helping us afford, give us the tools that we need to equalize the playing field, to equalize the odds, to level the playing field. And that's what we got to do, and remain committed and steadfast, and don't waver just because a new shining thing comes along. Hold on to what's true to you. Hold on to what's worked. Hold on to what's worked, and not just what's worked by way of concept, but by way of data. Everything is on the blockchain. Stick to what works. It could be subjective, but I know what works for me. So that's it for today. On the next one, take care.